A strong hold over current affairs is your way to succeed in the UPSC Civil Services examination. Brace yourself and get detailed coverage of relevant news both nationally and internationally. With the monthly current affairs revision program starting from 26th October at 5 p.m. Enroll today and elevate your current affairs knowledge with comprehensive coverage of current affairs compiled through relevant sources such as the Hindu Indian Express, Economic Times, PIB Yojana, and others. Expert support and personalized mentoring. Comprehensive assessment through MCQs and mains-oriented questions.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News Today. Without delay, let's have a look at the headlines first. CAQM ordered the implementation of Stage II of Graded Response Action Plan in Delhi NCR. Delhi High Court closed contempt proceedings against Wikipedia. International Monetary Fund releases World Economic Outlook October 2024 report. Ministry of Cooperatives released standard operating procedures on White Revolution 2.0. Remove debris in orbit servicing RISE mission is a promising step towards circular economy in space. Closing window of opportunity. Mapping threats to important areas for conservation in Pantropics report released. In an important update on the air quality management, the Centre's Subcommittee for Operationalization of a Graded Response Action Plan, or GRAP, has directed all relevant agencies in the National Capital Region to enforce the measures outlined under Stage II of the GRAP to prevent further deterioration in air quality. Well, under Stage II of GRAP in NCR, there is a strict ban on use of coal, firewood and diesel generator sets, with exceptions made only for emergency and essential services. But what exactly is GRAP? It's an emergency response system designed to tackle rising air pollution, especially in Delhi. GRAP is divided into 4 stages based on the Air Quality Index or AQI. Stage 1 is triggered when the AQI falls between 201 and 300, considered the poor category. Stage 2, which we are currently in, applies when AQI levels range from 301 to 400, categorized as very poor. Stage 3 is reserved for the severe category with AQI between 401 and 450. Stage 4 is the worst scenario, severe plus, where AQI exceeds 450. The implementation of GRAP is overseen by Commission for Air Quality Management or CAQM in NCR and adjoining areas. Now, let's discuss the reasons behind Delhi's rising air pollution every winter. As the monsoon withdraws, the wind direction shifts to northwesterly, bringing dust from Rajasthan and sometimes as far as Pakistan and Afghanistan. Winters also bring a drop in wind speed, reducing the natural dispersion of pollutants. On top of that, farm fires from paddy stubble burning, dust and vehicular emissions contribute heavily to the problem. To combat this, several initiatives have been introduced. CAQM has put forth an 11-point action plan which includes measures like mechanical sweeping, use of dust suppressants, the System of Air Quality and Weather Forecasting and Research or SAFAR, spraying Pusa biodecomposer in farmlands and other efforts to control pollution. Moving on to the Air Quality Index, AQI. Well, it is a tool issued by government agencies to gauge air pollution levels and communicate the risks to the public. It considers 8 pollutants including PM10, PM2.5, NO2, SO2, CO, O3, NH3 and PB to calculate the AQI. Finally, it's worth mentioning the Commission for Air Quality Management or CAQM. Established under the CAQM in NCR and Adjoining Areas Act 2021, this body replaced the earlier Environment Pollution Prevention and Control Authority to provide better coordination, research and action in managing the air quality of the region. Its main purpose is the air quality management in NCR and adjoining areas for better coordination, research, identification and resolution of air quality problems.
In our legal news update, the Delhi High Court has closed contempt proceedings against Wikipedia. This action follows the removal of an article titled Asian News International versus Wikimedia Foundation. To provide some context, the article in question criticized a defamation lawsuit filed by the ANI news agency against the Wikimedia Foundation, which is Wikipedia's parent organization. ANI's lawsuit stemmed from a Wikipedia page that described the agency as a propaganda tool for the central government and accused it of misreporting events. Now let's turn to the High Court's judgment. The court determined that the article violated the sub judice principle. This principle prohibits any publications, statements, or commentary that could influence the court or prejudice an ongoing case. The court highlighted that the Wikipedia page, which criticized the lawsuit, amounts to interference in court proceedings. Moving forward, it's essential to understand the legal framework regarding contempt of court. The Contempt of Court Act of 1971 defines contempt in two categories: civil contempt and criminal contempt. Civil contempt refers to willful disobedience of any judgment, decree, direction, order, writ, or other processes of court. In contrast, criminal contempt involves publishing contempt or actions that could scandalize a court's authority, prejudice or interfere with due course of judicial proceedings, or interfere with or obstruct the administration of justice. Additionally, constitutional provisions play a crucial role in this matter. Article 129 makes the Supreme Court a court of record and grants it the power to punish for contempt of itself, while Article 215 confers similar powers on higher courts. Furthermore, Article 142 allows the Supreme Court to issue any order for punishing contempt. In conclusion, this case underscores the importance of adhering to legal principles in matters involving ongoing litigation.
In our next story, let's take a closer look at the recently published report, which provides key insights and projections on the global economy, both in the short and medium term. This report, typically released twice a year, is crucial in understanding the economic trends that may shape the future. Starting with the global growth projections, the report estimates that the global economy will remain stable with a growth rate of 3.2% in both 2024 and 2025. However, several uncertainty factors pose potential risks such as geopolitical conflicts, increasing trade tensions, and major leadership changes expected in several key economies due to upcoming elections. Turning to India's growth, the report projects that the country's economy will grow at an impressive 6.5% in 2025 and 2026, further highlighting the country's strong economic position in the global landscape. Moving on, the report emphasizes the urgency of structural reforms and discusses strategies to enhance the social acceptabilities of these reforms. Now, let's break down what structural reforms really mean. These are policy changes that modify existing rights and economic privileges to improve the overall allocation of resources. The key challenge here is securing social acceptance, as the benefits and losses from reforms are often unevenly distributed across society, and the outcomes take time to manifest. What determines public support for these reforms? The report identifies determinants of attitude towards structural reforms like personal beliefs, perceptions, and behavioral factors. In some cases, misinformation or misperceptions about these policies can shape people's attitudes, making it harder to implement reforms. And also, socio-economic characteristics underlying individuals' economic self-interest also influences the policy views. To address this, the report suggests several strategies to boost public support for structural reforms. First, it emphasizes the importance of providing clear and non-partisan information to correct any misunderstandings about the policies. Second, fostering two-way engagement between government officials and the public is essential, allowing for open dialogue where people can contribute their ideas and concerns. Third, acknowledging the potential negative impact of reforms on some groups and offering mitigating measures like temporary cash support or capacity building can make a big difference. Finally, building trust is vital. Establishing credible independent government bodies and addressing corruption through first-generation reforms can help enhance public confidence in the process. In summary, the report highlights not only the urgency of structural reforms, but also the importance of public support in making these changes effective. Let's now talk about an exciting initiative launched by the Ministry of Cooperatives as part of the Diamond Jubilee celebration of the National Dairy Development Board, or NDDB. This event also marked the release of the Standard Operating Procedures for White Revolution 2.0. NDDB, a key player in India's dairy sector, was founded by none other than Dr. Verghese Kurien, often referred to as the father of White Revolution. Established in 1965 under the Societies Act 1860, NDDB was later merged with the Indian Dairy Corporation through the NDDB Act of 1987, and it is now recognized as an institution of national importance. One of its most impactful initiatives was the Operation Flood Program, which ran from 1970 to 1996, transforming India's dairy landscape and sparking the original White Revolution. But what is new with White Revolution 2.0? The aim of this new phase is ambitious: to increase milk procurement by dairy cooperative societies by 50% over the next 5 years. This means by 2028 and 2029, India aims to collect 1,007 lakh kilograms of milk per day. Alongside boosting milk production, this initiative focuses on empowering women, generating employment and expanding the reach of dairy cooperatives. A key part of this effort is the National Programme for Dairy Development, or NPDD 2.0, under which the targets of White Revolution 2.0 have been subsumed. The program will offer financial assistance under NPDD for setting up village-level milk procurement systems and establishing milk chilling facilities, all with the aim of strengthening India's dairy infrastructure. To achieve these goals, the plan includes establishing or strengthening 1 lakh dairy cooperative societies, whose plan is to establish or strengthen 1 lakh DCS for achieving objective of White Revolution 2.0. Now let's take a look at India's status in the global dairy sector. India is the world's top milk producer with a staggering production of 230.58 million tons during 2022 and 23. The national per capita availability of milk stands at 459 grams per day, far higher than the global average of 323 grams per day. In addition to this, several other initiatives are supporting the dairy sector, such as the Rashtriya Gokul Mission, National Programme for Dairy Development, the Livestock Health and Disease Control Program, and the Animal Husbandry Infrastructure Development Fund. All of these efforts are aimed at taking India's dairy sector to even greater heights, ensuring a stronger, more sustainable future for the country's milk producer and consumers alike. In a major step towards advancing a circular economy in space, the European Space Agency is set to launch its first in-orbit servicing mission, known as RISE. This mission marks a significant leap in space sustainability, with the goal of enabling essential activities like refueling, refurbishment, and assembling in-orbit critical components for ensuring the long-term usability of space assets. RISE is scheduled for launch in 2028 and will have the ability to dock and control the orbit of geostationary satellites. The mission will venture to the geostationary graveyard, a region roughly 100 kilometers above active satellites' orbits, where decommissioned satellites are placed after completing their mission. This brings us to the broader concept of circular space economy, a concept that's drawing inspiration from the Earth-based circular economy model, which focuses on minimizing waste and maximizing resource efficiency. In space, this means activities like satellite refurbishment and repair, space debris removal, and even resource utilization, such as extracting materials from asteroids or the moon. Now, why is this important? Well, a circular space economy could be crucial in addressing several key challenges. First, reducing space debris helps prevent future collisions, safeguarding and satellites and space infrastructure. Second, by reusing and recycling materials, we conserve resources, and that leads to a significant reduction in costs as it extends the lifespan of satellites. Additionally, manufacturing or assembling systems directly in orbit can lead to faster development times. Of course, creating a circular economy in space is not without its challenges. There are technological limitations, especially when it comes to developing systems for in-orbit servicing and recycling. Funding is also a major hurdle, as building the necessary infrastructure requires significant investment. And then there is the issue of regulatory challenges. Establishing global standards for space sustainability will be critical. Globally, we are already seeing some major initiatives to promote this idea. The European Space Agency, for instance, has set an ambitious target to achieve a circular economy in space by 2050, with a goal of debris neutrality by 2030. NASA is also working on Consortium for Space Mobility and ISAM, or in-space servicing, assembling and manufacturing capabilities. And companies like SpaceX are leading the way with reusable launch vehicles like the Falcon 9. Here in India, ISRO is also making strides. Their reusable launch vehicle technology demonstrator program is working towards developing a reusable rocket, and India has committed to debris-free space missions by 2030. With all these efforts in motion, the future of space operations is certainly evolving. The RISE mission is just the beginning of what could be a truly sustainable space economy.
In a significant development, a report was unveiled at the Convention on Biological Diversity COP16 in Cali, Colombia, titled Closing Window of Opportunity, Mapping Threats to Important Areas for Conservation in Pantropics. This report reveals an alarming overlap of oil, gas, and mining concessions with key biodiversity areas or KBAs across the Amazon Basin, Congo Basin, and Southeast Asia. To set the stage, it's important to note that these regions store vast amounts of carbon, playing a vital role in regulating our global climate and sustaining life on Earth. Now let's dive into the key findings of the report. It identifies that 518 KBAs, or 18% of KBAs by area in the Pantropics, are under active and potential oil and gas concessions. Specifically in the Amazon, oil and gas blocks overlap with 14% of KBAs and 12% of indigenous territories by area. Moreover, over 180 million hectares of high-integrity forest are either undergoing or have planned fossil fuel extraction projects across the Pantropics. Moving on, let's clarify what KBAs actually are. These sites hold global importance for the planet's overall health and the persistence of biodiversity. A site qualifies as a global KBA if it meets one or more of 11 criteria, which are grouped into 5 main categories: threatened biodiversity, geographical restricted biodiversity, ecological integrity, biological processes, and irreplaceability. However, the path to protecting these vital areas is fraught with challenges. There are competing interests between conservation and resource extraction, particularly driven by the growing demand for minerals used in renewable energy technologies such as nickel mining. Furthermore, unprotected KBAs are vulnerable to degradation due to spillover effects from infrastructure development associated with oil, gas, and mining projects. In light of these challenges, the report offers several recommendations. It emphasizes the need to provide indigenous people with the resources and authority for self-governance while respecting their sovereignty over traditional territories. Additionally, it calls for implementing and enforcing legal frameworks to stop new resource extraction in protected areas and to phase out existing operations. Finally, it urges limiting green energy resource extraction to non-critical habitats, ensuring strict environmental standards to protect these essential ecosystems. Lastly, it's worth noting the initiatives in place, such as the Global Standard for the Identification of Key Biodiversity Areas, established in 2016 by the IUCN, which aims to guide efforts in recognizing and protecting these crucial sites. The personality in news for today is Ashfaqulla Khan. Recently, tribute was paid to freedom fighter Ashfaqulla Khan on his birth anniversary. Ashfaqulla Khan was born in 1900 at Shahjahanpur, Uttar Pradesh. Now let us look at some of his key contributions. He, along with Ram Prasad Bismil, Sachindranath Bakshi and Jogesh Chandra Chatterjee, founded the Hindustan Republican Association in 1924. Moreover, manifesto of HRA titled The Revolutionary listed its objective as establishing a federal republic of United States of India by an organized and armed revolution. He also participated in Kakori Train Action 1925 and was sentenced to death along with Ram Prasad Bismil, Rajendra Lahiri and Roshan Singh. Through his actions, he showcased the values of courage, integrity and justice.
As we conclude today's main news, let's have a look at some quick updates. India and Pakistan have renewed agreement on Sri Kartarpur Sahib corridor for next 5 years. The agreement, originally signed in 2019, was valid for 5 years. Sri Kartarpur Sahib corridor facilitates the visit of pilgrims from India to Gurudwara Darbar Sahib Kartarpur in Narowal in Pakistan without a visa. The Union government has scrapped export tax on parboiled rice to boost rice exports. This decision would lead to increased global supplies and soften international rice prices. Parboiled rice refers to rice that has been partially boiled at the paddy stage in its inedible husk before milling. Madras High Court ruled that contractual employees are also entitled to maternity benefits. Court held that provisions of the Maternity Benefit Act 1961 would prevail over contractual conditions if the latter either deny or offer less favorable benefits. Maternity Benefit Act provides paid maternity leave to women workers. As per Global Energy Monitor, fossil capacity is set to drop below half of the power capacity mix in BRICS bloc for the first time ever in 2024. One of the other key findings state that wind and utility-scale solar capacity in development across BRICS is double the amount of coal, oil and gas power capacity. Climate scientists are urging Nordic ministers to prevent global warming from causing major changes or collapse in Atlantic Ocean current. This collapse of AMOC would increase cooling of the northern hemisphere, raise Atlantic sea levels, drop precipitation over Europe and North America, and shift monsoons in South America. India's fourth nuclear-powered ballistic missile submarine, referred to as S4, was launched into water. India currently has 2 SSBNs operational, that is INS Arihant and INS Arighat. The third SSBN, Arithman, is currently undergoing sea trials. Recently, the President of India presented the 5th National Water Awards in New Delhi. National Water Awards, under the Ministry of Jal Shakti, aims to create awareness among the people about the importance of water and motivate them to adopt the best water usage practices. Recently, Commonwealth Games 2026 edition, to be held in Glasgow, was unveiled, which features only 10 sports. 6 of 12 disciplines in which India won a medal at 2022 CWG have been dropped from the 2026 edition. Before we sign off, let's challenge your understanding in today's installment of Test Your Knowledge. Thank you for joining us. We hope you found this episode of News Today engaging. For the solutions to the quiz and to access the PDF version of News Today, remember to visit the provided links in the description below.